मनोभिले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदातिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरद्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So welcome back, and we are continuing with the 13th chapter of Gita, which we had seen the first 11 verses last time. We are continuing from there. As usual, we will begin with the summary verse of Yamunacharya, where he summarizes the chapter and then go into the commentary. So this is Gitartha Sangraha, where Yamunacharya first summarizes the last 6 chapters of the Gita. Pradhana Purusha Vyakta, Sarveswara Vivechanam, Karmadi Bhaktirityadi, Purvashesha Antimoditaha. So he says Purvashesha Antimodita. That means Purvashesha is bought. That means Gita is in 3 parts, and previously whatever was not said about 2 topics, Tattva and Hita. Tattva means Pradhana Purusha Vyakta Sarveshwara. Pradhana is Prakriti, Purusha is the Jivatma, Vyakta is the manifestation, Sarveshwara is Bhagavan. All that is one category called Tattva. Then Karmadi Bhakti, then Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. So all this, which was required for the first 2 parts, the first 6 and the middle 6, is explained in the final 6. And as I told you, in that also, Pradhana Purusha, that means Achit, Chit and Prakriti, these 3 things. Achit, Chit and Ishvara, sorry. Achit is material nature, Chit is the Jivatma, and Ishvara is the Supreme Lord. This is mainly discussed in 13 to 15. And all the yoga systems are discussed in 16 to 18. So like that, he divides it. And in that also, 13 and 14 is mainly talking about Achit and Chit, and 15 is talking about Ishvara. So like that is the commentary. Right? So this is the, and yoga system in the last part. So actually, yeah. So now we are going into the summary verse of the 13th chapter. Deha Swarupam Atmapti Hetuhu Atma Vishodhanam Bandha Hetu Vivekascha Trayodasha Udiryate. So Sripad Yamunacharya says there are 5 topics covered in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. First is Deha Swarupa, nature of the body. Deha means, remember, Deha means the body along with the Atma is called as Deha. That means the body in which the Atma is there is called Deha. Sorry. The body in which the Atma is there is called Deha. Okay, so if you remember last time I said also that when a person is dead, we don't call the dead body Deha, we call it Preta. It has a different term. Okay, so Deha means when the Atma is there, like living body, like a vriksha. Okay, like that. So that is Deha Swarupa. Atmapti Hetu, how to attain the Jivatma. These 2 things were covered in the first 11 verses. How to attain the Jivatma, these were the 20 qualities which Krishna mentions from 13.7 to 11. Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Kshantirarchava. From that. So those 20 qualities put together is the way to attain the Atma. Atmapti Hetu. Deha Swarupam was the first part, and Atmapti Hetu. So this is already covered. Now there are 3 more topics which are pending. Third is Atma Vishodhanam. analyzing and concluding the nature of Atma. That means trying to understand that even further. Bandha hetu. Why is the Atma bound in this body in samsara? Bandha means why is it caught up? And Vivekasya. How should the Atma be contemplated as different from the body? Okay, so these are 5 topics. And as I said last time, Ramanujacharya explains that 13th chapter, actually this is what Krishna should have spoken perhaps in the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, because it's all connected to those topics only. But somehow it was left out. So everything couldn't be said. So like an appendix, we need to look at it. So that's how they describe this chapter. Right, so since we have already done 11 verses, we are directly going into the 12th verse. So all this was done, all this was done. Yeah, so 12th verse. So now onwards, so if you are referring to the Bhagavad Gita as it is, please remember this is verse number 13, because there is an additional verse here where Arjuna is asking question, which is not there in this Gita. So if you remember last time I mentioned this, that sometimes like this it happens that one verse here or there doesn't exist. So nothing very serious, but in the Bhagavad Gita as it is that we read, we have the first verse where Arjuna is asking what is Kshetra, Kshetrajna and all that. Right? So those things are not given by Sripad Ramanujacharya. That verse is not there only. So that's why it's one verse less. Okay, so if you're reading Gita as it is, then that is verse number 13. Otherwise, this is verse number 12 here in his calculation. Okay, so let's get into that. Nyayam yattat pravakshami yajñātvā mritamashnuté anādimat param brahma nasattanna saduchyate. I shall clearly describe about that nature of the pure Jivatma who is realized through the 20 qualities mentioned in the previous 5 shlokas, realizing whom one can attain the pure state of Jivatman free from birth, old age, disease and death and other impurities, the one who is beginningless with no birth nor death, the one who is subservient to me, the one who, though atomic in form but of unlimited cognition, and that which can neither be called, which can be called as neither Sat nor Asat. Okay, so this is how his definition is. Okay, so now I'll just tell you one thing. Those of you who are referring to Bhagavad Gita as it is, see, this is the beauty again of Sanskrit and Acharya commentary. This entire section, we are going to do 10 verses today, 13 to 22. This entire section, if you see the Gita, Bhagavad Gita as it is of Srila Prabhupada, in the translation and purport, he basically talks of it as Paramatma, all those 10 verses. Here, Sripad Ramanujacharya talks about all these 10 verses in terms of Atma. Okay, so it's something amazing. If you see the word-to-word translation and the explanation, it may seem that both are justifiable. Okay, so if you have the Bhagavad Gita as it is simultaneously, you may note what I'm saying. Prabhupada is talking about all these verses from 13 to 22 in terms of Paramatma. And here Ramanujacharya is talking only in Atma. So everybody has their logic about why they, talk like that. Sripad Ramanujacharya's logic is this particular chapter, and Yamunacharya also, and this is followed by all the Sri Vaishnavas. They basically say that 13th chapter is about Achit and Chit. So that's what they say. So it is about matter and spirit. So that's why they say they describe everything in terms of this section as Jivatma only. And Paramatma they talk about in the 15th chapter only. So that's how they do it. Whereas now why Prabhupada also he writes like this, I could understand when I saw the text, because Krishna said that I am also the Kshetrajna, right? In the 3rd verse he said, I am Kshetrajnam Chap, I am also the Kshetrajna in all bodies, like that Krishna had said in the 3rd verse. So taking that as a clue, one may explain all this as Paramatma. So that's what Prabhupada has done. But if we are seeing Ramanujacharya's commentary, let's observe this. So as I told you, this is the 3rd part of Yamunacharya's summary. Yamunacharya has put 5 topics in the 13th chapter, and the 3rd part is analyzing the nature of Atma. So that's how he's talking about it. So Ramanujacharya's thought process is, since the 20 qualities were just mentioned, right? From verse number 7 to 11, those 20 qualities were mentioned. Now, see, again, that also has a very great importance. I'll just start briefly from that. If you remember, before the 20 qualities were mentioned, the vikara was mentioned. That means Icha, Dvesha, all that was mentioned as vikara. Vikara means undesirable transformations, you can imagine like that. And from 8 to 12, the qualities that were mentioned were desirable qualities. Amanitva, Madambitva. So generally, the living entity in the Deha is prone to those vikara only. The undesirable qualities in contact with material nature. But if one really tries to aspire and develop these qualities, which are essential towards self-realization. So Ramanujacharya's viewpoint is, because these 20 qualities were described in the last 5 verses, that is why Krishna is saying, I'm going to talk about the nature of the Atma who is realized through those 20 qualities, because the 20 qualities were mentioned. So after, if somebody practices all those 20 qualities and obtains them, what do you reach? You reach Atma Sakshatkar. Because please remember, this is again in connection with the 2nd chapter of Gita, where the goal is to bring one to Atma Sakshatkar. So he says that by these 20 qualities, you come to understand the pure Jivatma, who is beyond birth and death and so on. Okay, so Ramanujacharya gives an interesting point. He says, as such, to explain the Jivatma, just one attribute is enough. What is that one attribute? He says the one attribute that is enough to explain who the Jivatma is to say that the Jivatma is the conscious force. If you just say that, that is enough. That means he is the only one who is understanding. Everything else is understood. Correct? The Jivatma is the one who is understanding. Who is understanding that something is existing? So let us say there is a pot in one corner of the house. Who understands the pot is there? Only a Jivatma sitting in a body is going to understand that. If there is no Jivatma present, the pot can be there forever, but nobody will understand that it is there. Okay, so that one quality of the ability to understand. In fact, in Sat Chit Ananda, they give a lot of importance to Chit, because Chit means that ability to understand. And they say that this is the main quality of Jivatma. See, because Ananda, well, you may say somebody may have Ananda or not have Ananda. As in, when the Jivatma is in a bound situation in the material world, he's not having Ananda. You may say that he's suffering only actually. Right? So Ananda is not there. Okay, in Vaikuntha or in Golok Vrindavan, he is having Ananda. But here he's not having Ananda. So the main thing which the Jivatma has, which is always there, is this attribute of Chit. It's always conscious. It's always understanding. Even in dream, we all know that we are perceiving that I am sleeping and I am having this dream. So we are always perceiving. So that becomes a very essential characteristic. So Ramanujacharya gives a nice example. He says that just like a cow, if you want to define what a cow is, just one attribute is enough. It should have that sashna. Sashna means, like, if you know the Indian cows, they have a flap of skin, right, beneath under their throat. That is called as sashna. So that is enough to say that it is cow, because no other creature has that, right? The Jersey doesn't have it, the buffaloes don't have it, or whatever. So the cow is the animal that has the sashna. But then one may want to describe cow in many other ways also. One can say many other characteristics, like cow gives milk, cow is dear to Krishna, the back of the cow has Lakshmi Devi in it, and so on. Right? So we may give, we may say so many attributes about the cow. So similarly about Atma also, many attributes are being mentioned. Many of them are pretty simple, as we see here. Just one thing needs explanation. In the end, it says, na sat, na asat. That means the Atma is something we neither call Sat nor Asat. So somebody may say, Arey, Atma is called Sat, na? Why are we saying like this? Okay, so Ramanujacharya, his commentary, what he says is, he says, here Sat means in the context of something existing temporarily. Like, for example, he says, just like there is mud. From mud, we make a clay pot. So before the clay pot was made, there is only mud. When the pot is made, the pot suddenly exists. And when the pot is destroyed and it goes back to mud, then the pot doesn't exist. So he says generally in this world, we say Sat in the context of existing, where a form comes from matter temporarily, and when it is destroyed and it goes back into its element, we say that it doesn't exist. But he says for the Atma, one need not say that only, because um, there is no question of the Atma never existing. So consequentially, in a material sense, to say that the Atma has now come into being is not sense. So in that context, he's saying na sat na sat. That means the Atma doesn't suddenly come into being, and neither it is not existing. Basically, it is always there. So it's the existence of the Atma is not same as the existence of a pot. Okay, so that's the example he gives, and then he says, right. So let's go ahead now. So now the translation becomes very very interesting. If you see here, right. So this is 13th verse here. Sarvatah panipadam tat sarvato kshiromukam sarvata shrutiman loke sarvam avritya tishtati. Those of you know Bhagavad Gita as it is, we know that there he talks about super soul having hands and legs everywhere. Look at this translation and the explanation here. He says that Jivatma in its pure state is capable of performing everywhere the actions that can be done using hands and legs, is capable of performing everywhere the actions that can be done using eyes, head, and face, and is capable of performing everywhere where actions that can be done using ears. He exists pervading everywhere in the universe through his consciousness. So basically, here the commentary is, he says, here now Krishna is talking about the Atma, characteristic of Atma as a Mukta Atma. See, what happens when we are talking about Atma, here in this chapter, Atma is being spoken in 10 verses. The Atma can be Baddhatma also and it can be Muktatma also. So the previous verse was mainly about Baddhatma. Now here we are talking about Muktatma. So Muktatma, what happens? So Ramanujaya says the Muktatma, he can do anything, right? The Muktatma is free. He has hands and legs everywhere, means whatever you can do with hands and legs in any place can be done by Mukta Purusha. The Mukta Purusha is not bound. Actually, when I was reading this commentary, the story of Gopakumar came to my mind. In the story of Gopakumar, you will see that when Gopakumar chants that Gopal mantra and he goes to different spiritual planets, in every planet or in different parts of the universe, he meets Narada Muni. And at one point, he's asking, wherever I go, I'm meeting you. So are you there everywhere? He's asking, or are you localized? He's getting a doubt in that context. Many other devotees also he meets. The same devotee he meets in different places. So Narada Muni says, by the mercy of the Lord, we also have become all pervading. We are there everywhere, he says. Okay, as in, so that is the Mukta Purusha. So the Mukta Purusha, so that's the explanation given here. The Mukta Purusha, he is there everywhere. And Ramanacharya quotes from the Upanishads as well. Apanipada. Of course, that is about Paramatma. But the point is the knowledge, the Mukta Purusha's knowledge. See, Ramanacharya's commentary is that the Atma is that Chit, the unit of knowledge, right? It's an individual entity having jnana. So because when we have this body, our jnana is limited to only what this body is capable of handling and accepting. Okay, so if I'm in the body of a dog, I can understand only what the body of a dog allows me to understand. When I'm in a body of a human being, when I'm in a body of a devata, I can understand what the devata body allows him to understand. On the other hand, when the Atma becomes a Mukta Purusha, then that limitation of the body doesn't exist. Due to which Ramanacharya says he can understand knowledge of anything and everything in all the worlds. That is the power given to the Mukta Purusha also. So he says that is why Ramanujara explains this entire verse is about Mukta Purusha Atma, who behaves as if he has hands and legs everywhere, he has ears everywhere, he has eyes everywhere. There is nothing that he cannot see, hear, cannot do. And all this is possible because his knowledge has now expanded to the entire universes, right? And as I told you, if we want to see example, we can read about our what's his name, Gopakumar story. Mukta Purusha is not same as Jivan Mukta. Somebody has asked that. Jivan Mukta is one who is liberated in this world. When he's liberated in this world, he's liberated, you may say, but still that he's still acting through the medium of the body. But Mukta, Nitya Mukta means he's out of samsara completely, like Narada, or like any of the residents of the spiritual world who have already got, who are back in the spiritual realm, right? So we are talking about that. Jivan Mukta means one who is still here and he is liberated. That means he has advanced to that level, but still he's sitting in the body. But here it's not like that. The body is just not there. So he's having a spiritual form only, like that. Okay. Yeah. So that is the translation of this particular verse. Yeah. Sarvendriya gunavasa sarvendriya vivarjitam asaktam sarva brichaiva nirgunam gunabhoktracha. Okay, so this is the 14th verse. Here it says the Jivatma is capable of comprehending the external world through the operation of senses. Though in its pure state it can perceive all sense objects without needing any indriya. By its nature, the Jivatma has no attachment for any body, yet it is capable of supporting all types of body. In its essential state, the Jivatma does not have the three gunas, Sattvam, Rajas, and Tamoguna. Yet it is capable of experiencing the outcomes of the three gunas of Prakriti in a state of bondage due to karma. So here what Ramanujacharya says is, he says that Krishna is talking about the Jivatma in terms of opposite qualities. Opposite qualities means one quality the Jivatma has when he is bound, another quality he has when he is liberated. Like that. Look at that. Sarvendriya Gunabhasam, Sarvendriya Vivarjitam. Sarvendriya Gunabhasam means he is understanding through the senses. This is especially when he is seated in the body. Sarva Indriya Vivarjitam means what? But he can perceive anything without sense objects. So Krishna is saying he can perceive everything through the senses. He can perceive everything without the senses. So what does it mean? It means he says he's talking about the Atma sitting in the Baddha Sharira and the Atma in the Mukta form. So in the Mukta is without, because he doesn't have material senses. Right? Sarvendriya Vivarjita means he doesn't have material senses. So here Indriya is in the common usage of term, material Indriyas. Okay. Asaktam Sarva Brichaiva. Sarva Brit means capable of supporting all bodies. Capable of supporting all bodies means what? That means you can give the Atma the body of a Devata, the body of a dog, the body of a mosquito. In any body, he adjusts and he starts working. Sarva Bricheva. He can support all type of bodies. You can give him any of the bodies among the 84 lakh species of life and he can work. Or he need not have any body also. Asaktam means he doesn't need a body. That is in the Mukta form. So Asaktam Sarva Bricheva. Nirgunam Guna Bhoktracha. Nirgunam means he need not have the three modes at all, or he experiences the outcome of the three modes when he is in bondage. Like that he says, correct? So there are three sets of qualities spoken here very beautifully. One is for the Atma in the Baddha stage, and one is for the Atma in the Mukta stage. Okay, like that. Yeah. Yeah. Next one. Bahirantascha Bhutanam Acharam Charam Evacha Sukshmatvat Tad Avijneyam Durastam Chantike Chatat. The Jivatma can exist inside or outside the five elements. When existing with a material body, he moves about with his legs, but when he is liberated, he does not move using a body. Due to being extremely subtle, Sukshmatvat. Even though he exists within the body, the embodied person cannot realize that he is completely different from the body. That's durastam. For the person who are devoid of the qualities like amanitvam, the Jivatma is far away. And for persons who possess such qualities, the Jivatma is close by. Beautiful, beautiful translation and commentary. Please pay attention here. So see again, Krishna is continuing as per Ramanujacharya's commentary, the same theme. What is the theme now? The theme is Baddha Purusha and Mukta Purusha. Right? The Jivatma can be Baddha also and it can be Mukta also. Bahiranta. Bahirantasya means the Jivatma can function through the five elements or without the five elements. What do you mean by that? Simple. When he is liberated, he is not having the five elements. But on the other hand, when he is seated in the body, he is having five elements. Only then. So that means the Jivatma, it is not necessary that he should work through five elements. Okay. Acharam charam cha. That means either he is having all these legs and all, the physical body, or he doesn't have. Sukshmatma, he is very subtle. Okay. And see, the last part is very, very beautiful. This is the most important actually in this commentary. Tad durastam chantike chatas cha antike. That means dura means what? Either is far away. Antike means he can be very close by also. What do you mean by that? So Ramanujacharya says, hey, see, the Jivatma can be far away means you may never understand the Jivatma, or you may understand him very easily. So who will understand and who will not understand? So the commentary is that those who have developed those 20 qualities, which Krishna mentioned from 13.7 to 11, right? Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Kshantirachava. Someone who has developed those qualities, for him, Jivatma is very easy to understand. For him, it is Antikecha. Because for such a person, to understand Jivatma is very easy. On the other hand, somebody who has not developed any of these qualities, and if he has not developed these qualities, then what qualities does he have? He has only the qualities of Vikara. Vikara means that desire, hate, and all that, right? Which was mentioned before. So if you remember, before Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Krishna said that there is a Vikara the Jivatma undergoes in terms of happiness, distress, sukha, dukkha, duality, hate, dvandva, all that, right? So if he is having those qualities only, then for him the Atma is Durastha. He will never understand that. On the other hand, if he is going to understand that, then obtain those qualities, then he is Antikecha. He is very close by. So like that the commentary is. Correct? Yeah. We'll move ahead. Avivaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam iva cha sthitam bhuta bhartari cha taj nyayam grashnishu prabha vishnu cha. That Jivatma, even when residing within the body of a deva or a human being or an animal, is of the same unchanging essential nature, avibhaktam, but appears to be different from each other based on the bodily differences. The Jivatma sustains the body and is thus to be understood as clearly different from the body. And the Jivatma only devours the food put inside the physical mouth, and the Jivatma only digests the food in the stomach, transforming the food into blood, etc. So this is his translation here. Okay, that means he's the person who is sitting. So Ramanujacharya in this commentary, he focuses on the story of Jada Bharat once again, saying that when Jada Bharat meets Maharaj Raghuna, he tells him, hey, look, there is actually no difference between you and me. There is actually no difference between you and me. He says we are all the same, just that we are having different. I have a material body, you have a material body. In fact, there is a whole series of verses where he says there is this body in which all these people are palanquin, the Atma is there. We are holding another structure, and in that there is another material structure sitting, and inside that structure there is one person sitting. He's thinking he's a great king, like that he says. Okay, so the focus of this text is there is actually no real difference between different living entities in this world. Everybody is having just a different body, and everybody is undergoing his own struggle in this material world. So Ramanujacharya quotes a beautiful verse from Vishnu Purana, which says, Jnana Swarupam Akhilam Jagadetat Abuddhayah Artha Swarupam Pashyanta Brahmyate Moha Samplave. It's a very beautiful verse which says that we should see this verse is basically saying that an intelligent man sees every Atma as Jnana Swarupam. Jnana Swarupam. You remember I said that Jnana Swarupam means every Atma is a unit of Jnana. He is basically understanding everything. Okay. Jnana Swarupam Akhilam. Jagat Etat. Everywhere there are different Atmas sitting in different bodies, and they are all a unit of knowledge. Which can Swayam Prakasha, it is called. This term will come ahead. Swayam Prakasha means to himself understand something. And there is nothing else that in itself understands. Swayam Prakasha, the Atma is called Swayam Prakasha. It itself understands everything. And it says somebody who doesn't understand like that, Brahmyate Moha Samplave, he keeps rotating in this samsara. That means if you see different people or different entities in this world and you don't understand those entities as a unit, single unit of knowledge, of ability to cognize something. Okay, not knowledge is not the right term, unit of knowledge. Unit of ability to cognize, the ability to be cognizant of things around, then such a person, he deserves to move in the 14 worlds. Like that, this verse is there in the Purana. Okay, so that's the only thing to be said here. Yeah, let's go ahead. Jyotisham api tat jyotish tamasa param uchyate jnanam nyayam jnanagамyam kriti sarvasya vishtita. That Jivatma only illuminates the luminous entities like the sun, the lamp, the gems, etc. And the Jivatma is said to be different and higher than non-sentient Prakriti. And the Jivatma is of a form of knowledge called Swayam Prakasha and is attained through the means of knowledge, which are the qualities like Amanityam. And each Jivatma resides in the heart of his respective body that he has taken. Okay. So this is how he says here. So basically, what he says in this particular verse, Jyotisham api tat jyotis, what he says is, see, Ramanuja's commentary is like this. There are three things. Let's take this example. One thing is there is a pot. This is a favorite example of all Vedanta and Nyaya. The example of pot, the example of light, and the example of consciousness. So there is a pot. And the pot is there in one corner. The pot, suppose and let's say in the material world, the pot, if it is dark, even if the pot is there, you cannot understand the pot, correct? Now, if there is a lamp that comes, either a lamp lit by a fire, etc., or the sun or the moon, Jyotisha, then this Jyotisha, what it does is it causes illumination. Because of the illumination, now the pot can be seen and understood. But then again, the Atma is superior to the sun and the moon and Jyotisha also, because the Atma only understands that, okay, the sun, moon is there, it is giving light, and because of this light, I can understand this pot is there in the corner of my house. Okay, so there are these three things: the pot, the sun, moon, or any Jyotisha, any electricity or whatever you want to call, and the Atma, which is capable of knowing something. Okay, so the commentary here is the Atma is called as Swayam Prakasha. Okay, so he uses that. Jnanam Nyayam. That means, Jnanam Nyayam means he is the only one who can understand something by himself. There is nothing else they can understand by itself. Like the pot can be there, as I said, or the sun, even if the sun comes up, okay, there will be illumination. But so they can only drive away the darkness. But that awareness comes from the Atma. Only Atma is called as Swayam Prakasha. Okay. And interestingly, he says this Atma is not only Swayam. So see, there are two terms here. There is Jnanam and there is Nyayam. Jnanam means knowledge. Nyayam means object of knowledge. Okay. Now, generally, anything in this world is Nyayam, you may say. But he says even the Atma is Nyayam. That means the Atma is not only the source of understanding, but it is also understood by itself. Okay, so I can understand that I exist. Okay, at night when I'm sleeping, my eyes are closed, the lights are off, everything is off, it's pitch dark, but still I understand that I'm sitting inside. I'm there here, aware of myself. Okay, so the Atma is not only the Swayam Prakasha, it also becomes object of knowledge. So object of knowledge is everything else in this world, but the Atma is also object of knowledge. So like that he says. Especially this is relevant for those who are Kaivalya Margi, because they want to understand only Atma. They are not interested to understand Bhagavan. They are interested to understand only Atma. But the point is the Atma is also understood. Okay. He is understanding and he is also understood. And he is the only one who can. And how can he be understood? Ramanujacharya again reminds us by these 20 qualities. Jnanagamya. He can be understood only if you have those qualities. If you have those qualities, amanitvam onwards, then only you are going to understand it. Otherwise, you will not understand it. He is not understood by any textbook method or by any theory. See, that's what, na? So through all our logic, we can only give various examples and try to convey the idea of Atma. But ultimately, to understand it, you need the qualities. Like that. So this way 17. Yeah. Now the 18th verse. Now the topic changes. Huh? Till now, what has happened is, okay, I'll read the verse and then say. Now the next topic is in fact a little difficult or rather more interesting, but slightly different commentary than what we have studied in general. So we'll take some time to explain. Iti kshetram tata jnanam nyayam choktam samasatah mad bhakta etad vijnana mad bhavayopa papadyate. Thus, the following has been described briefly. See, Krishna is saying, following has been described briefly. What has been described? Kshetra, the nature of kshetra, the body. First thing. Tata jnanam, the nature of qualities to attain that jivatma. Nyayam, the object of knowledge. That means about the jivatma, all the characteristics, all that has been said. Understanding these clearly, the person having devotion to me becomes fit to attain my state. Mad bhavaya. My state means what? Ramanacharya says the state of beyond the bondage of samsara. That means liberation. Right? So, because this verse he's saying is applicable to both Kaivalya and Bhagavat Prapti devotee. So both people achieve this. So that is why this coming. So that means till now 3 topics are done. Kshetra is done, Jnanam, the sadhana, the 20 qualities, and Nyayam, what is to be understood, the characteristics of the Atma. These 3 topics of 13th chapter are done till now. 2 more topics are remaining. What are the 2 topics that are remaining? The first topic is Bandha Hetu. Why is the Atma caught up in samsara? That topic is remaining. And how to understand the Atma is different from the body. So this is the 4th and 5th topic that are remaining. So let's now pursue that. And this is going to be very, very interesting. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidhi Anadi Ubhau Api Vikaranascha Gunaschaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhava. Understand that both the Mula Prakriti and the Jivatma are beginningless, and their mutual association has been existing since beginningless time. Understand that the modifications like desire, anger, which lead the Jivatma astray, and the spiritual qualities like amanitvam, etc., which lead the Jivatma on the path of liberation, are both born out of association of Prakriti. So look at the commentary. Look at the text first. So Ramanacharya says this verse, what it teaches us, he says is, it says that he lays a lot of emphasis on this word anadi. Anadi in Sanskrit, there are many terms. Anadi means no beginning. Ananta means no end. So there are different terms in Sanskrit. No beginning is called anadi. I was just recalling the Bhaktivinoda Thakur song also. Anadi karma phale badi bavar navajale. Anadi means beginningless. So what he says here in this commentary is Prakriti and the Jivatma, and Cha means what? That combination. So based on this verse, Ramanacharya says the Baddha Atma who is there in this material world is sitting here since eternity. So that's how he says. He says he's beginningless because Anadi, the mutual association of the Jivatma with Prakriti has no time. He says it is beginningless as per this text. He says it is Anadi. The beginningless means it's literally beginningless. He says Anadi means you cannot trace the beginning. Okay, so this and in his commentary he lays a lot of emphasis on this also. That again, now this can be a little bit I mean, so when you hear these things, and when you hear a different presentation, you shouldn't be disturbed. Personally, I wasn't, because generally most of us are used to hearing, right, that we have come from Krishna fallen like that. But Ramanujacharya doesn't take that stance. He says that nobody has come here from Vaikuntha. We are all here only, he says. We have been here only always, Anadi. So that is the stand that he takes. Personally, for me, that question was never very important in life, because I thought that, I mean, it doesn't matter so much, because the fact that we are here, we need to see how to get out. But for some people, this issue could be a little touchy. And when I spoke to some other devotees also, I understood that even among Gaudiya Acharyas, there are many who have given such a commentary only. Who have spoken about how we have always been here. Because the scriptures somehow don't talk much about how and when we fall. It doesn't talk. It only says that the Atma, the Baddhatma is there here always. It doesn't give, I mean, there are some examples like Jai Vijay coming down, but that's more from pastime perspective. Leela, but otherwise it doesn't talk. So it's a little touchy topic. But here in his commentary, at least, this is what he says. He says that the contact of the Jivatma and Prakriti is Anadi. Always the person is sitting in this material world. Yeah, so Prakriti is translated as Mula Prakriti, because see, Prakriti, when you say na, Prakriti can mean many things. The Mula Prakriti, or the original material energy from which the entire universe has come, that is eternal. Okay. And the manifestation of Prakriti, which is the body, sometimes see, in some verses, what happens, it is just like the word Atma. In Sanskrit, Atma can mean Sharira also, it can mean Mana, it can mean the Atma, it can mean Paramatma also in some context. It's called Atma. Similarly, the word Prakriti, sometimes the translators give it as Mula Prakriti, the original Prakriti, or sometimes the body is also called as Prakriti. But here, Ramanuja calls it Mula Prakriti because of the word Anadi. See, if you translate the word Prakriti here as material body, then how can you call it Anadi? Because this material body is having some time limit. No? It is born on one day, it is dead on another day. So it cannot be called as Anadi. This material body, this current manifestation is not Anadi, but the Prakriti is Anadi. And the Jivatma is also Anadi. And their combination is also Anadi from the word Cha. So that's how he explains this. He is always sitting here. He's going to talk more on it, so we will see this later. Okay. So, yeah. And another important thing. See, Vikara Gunamshcha. See, this is another thing you have to focus on. That means the Vikara, negative modifications like desire, anger, which lead the Jivatma astray, that is born due to Prakriti. And spiritual qualities also you are getting sitting here only. See, what it teaches, this verse teaches us is the material body is necessary for liberation also. Okay. See, because to get liberated, you need to develop spiritual qualities. To develop spiritual qualities, you need the body through which only you are going to develop spiritual qualities. I hope everybody is understanding this particular point. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. See, the two things are being mentioned here. One is Vikara and one is Guna. Vikara means negative things, and Guna means positive things. That's how the translation is. So Guna can be translated in many ways. But he translates here Guna as positive Guna. Guna is like Achhe gun hai bolte na. So in that context, he's using Guna as the good qualities. And which good qualities? In the context of this chapter, those 20 good qualities which Krishna illustrates. To develop those qualities also you need Prakriti only, na? Because you are stuck here. Without the body, how are you going to develop Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Shantirarjam, Acharyopasanam, Sauchyam, Stairyam, Atma Vinigriha, Indriyarteshu, Vairagyam, Anahankara Evacha, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, Dukkha Doshanudarshanam. All those qualities which are mentioned, you need the body through which you can function. Only then you can. So, in this way, the purpose of life also becomes very clear in this verse. That we need this body to preserve it, to take care of it, so that we can develop spiritually. Otherwise, we are not going to. Okay, the qualities we cannot get without this becomes a sadhana also. The body becomes a sadhana or a bridge through which we can develop these spiritual qualities. So that's the translation, which is a very important focus. Right, let's go ahead. Yeah. कार्य कारण कर्तृत्वे हेतुर प्रकृति उच्यते पुरुष सुख दुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते. The activities of the body and the indriyas, the five sense organs, the five motor organs in the mind, have their foundation in Prakriti, which has transformed into the body and taken up by a Jivatma. Regarding the experience of happiness and sorrow, the Jivatma is said to be the cause. Okay. Actually, this verse now it can be explained in several ways. One way it can be explained, one simple way. I mean, this is not there in the Ramanujacharya's commentary, but I'll just tell that and then come to this particular meaning. See, this verse, what it tells us in essence is happiness and distress is perceived by the person. Prakriti only basically causes various situations. In that situation, whether to be happy or sad, it is up to the Atma. It's a very interesting interpretation. If you look at it like that, this verse. Because what that then teaches you is the world situation can be any damn thing. Because Prakriti means the material nature, can only do cause and effect. Karya Karana. It can only do all that. But whether to be happy or not, that's your choice. Okay, the Prakriti doesn't tell that you must be disappointed. Prakriti only causes situations. In that situation, whether to be happy or not or sad is the decision of the Jiva. If you look at this verse from that perspective, it really teaches a lot for us in life. That no matter what, I can choose to be happy with nothing also. Right? Nobody stops me from having a good time myself. You really don't need much, right? On the other hand, you may have everything, and that means so Prakriti doesn't decide, and we have seen this always. We have seen I mean, we can have numerous examples about this. Right? Like when during the COVID times, also we saw that. Right? COVID forced everybody to sit at home. Some people got very, very frustrated sitting like that. Some people were actually very happy. They thought, "Arey, this is a good time to be with family, man. We were always running around. We never had time with our wife, children, everything. Fantastic." So the situation is same. Prakriti just forces cause and effect on everybody. Whether to be happy or miserable is your choice. If you that's not the translation here. I'm just digressing from this particular translation. Just to say that each verse has hundreds of meanings. If you take a meaning in a particular context, it really teaches so much about life. Anyway, let's come back to Ramanujacharya's commentary here. So what he says is, he says karya generally means verb. Na? Karya is a verb. Karya is a verb like, action, doing something. But he says here karya is not that. Here karya, he says, is the body. Just like the gold is the cause of the ring, or the prakriti is the cause of the body, it is karya. Karanam is the 11 senses. Karanam. Does it mean that the 11 senses are causing the body? He says no. They are cause, karya and karana in a different context. It's not that the karana is the cause of karya. Okay, the body becomes the karya, the field of action. And karana is 11 senses which cause various activities. Senses causes various knowledge and action, hence they are called karana. Kartritva means the actions of the body and senses. So there is the body, there is senses, and there are actions. Kartritva, that is. And this is all having the foundation in what? Prakriti. Here Ramanujacharya translates Prakriti as body. Now again, please remember, right? Just previous verse we saw Prakriti was translated as Mula Prakriti. Because there the word used was Anadi. So there you cannot translate Prakriti as body, because the body is not Anadi, body is not eternal. But here he says it is body because what he says is Prakriti is nothing but the body. Body, which body? Body occupied by Jiva. See, the body is occupied. So because see, Karya itself was called as body. So how can body be the cause of body? So what it means is the body in which there is a Jivatma is the cause of the body, the senses, and the action. The body occupied by the Jivatma is only the cause of all these things, which is fine, right? And the second part is, so here Hetu means Ashray. Hetu is Ashray, like a foundation. That means without Atma, nothing can happen. So Prakriti means, see, again, the word Prakriti is very, very interesting word. See, in different contexts, you'll have to look at it differently. So Ramanujacharya says that if you say Prakriti only when the Atma is there, then only all this Indriya and all become active, right? Without Atma, what is the meaning of all the five senses? There are no senses only. The Atma is not present. Who is perceiving? He's saying Prakriti here is body with Atma. And in the second line, he says, happiness and distress, the cause is Purusha, but this is the Purusha sitting inside body. Because if the body is not there, somebody is Mukta Purusha, then there is no Sukha Dukkha only. I mean, it's only Sukha, but that Sukha is not this Sukha Dukkha. This Sukha Dukkha is the Bautik Sukha Dukkha, right? The Dvandva. So here, Purusha means, he says, it is the Atma seated in the body. Okay, so the first part of the verse is, the body in which the Atma is there is the cause of all the senses and action. And the Atma seated in the body is the cause of happiness and distress. I hope it's not too complex. Very simple. The point is, in the first verse, the priority is on the body, but with the Atma. And in the second part of the verse, the priority is the Atma, but in connection with body. Okay, so who is the priority becomes thing. So Ramanujacharya says, see, this Atma and body you cannot separate only. He says, because if you separate it, then neither argument holds true. He says, if there is only Atma without body, then Sukha Dukkha is not there only. And if there is only body without Atma, then there are no senses only. Senses is there only when that Atma is sitting inside. So like that he translates. So it's a very interesting translation again. But that's how he translates. And now the next verse, this is also so now the question comes. So the question is raised. See, every verse raises a question. The question is, why did the Atma get connection with Prakriti? Why did he get connection with Prakriti? How did the Sukha Dukkha come about? Okay. Purusha Prakriti sto hi bhunte Prakriti jangunan karanam guna sangasya sadasad yoni janvisu. The Jivatma, being seated in the body made of Prakriti, desires to enjoy, experience happiness or sorrow, which are the effects of Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamogun, which are born from Prakriti. Attachment to the effects of the respective gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, is said to be the cause of this Jivatma to be entrapped in good and evil births. So he says, see, this is the point. So the Sukha Dukkha, how it has come? He says the Purusha is not naturally happy. The Atma is naturally happy. But because he's in Prakriti, he's experiencing all this. And he says, we don't experience guna. See, in the purport, he focuses a lot on this. See, we say here, bhukte gunan. Gunan is not translated as three modes, but happiness and sorrow due to three modes. So he says, right? Because nobody will tell you that I am enjoying Sattva or I am enjoying Rajogun. We have Sukha, Dukkha or Moha. Either we are happy or we are in misery or we are illusion. Okay? And in that we are getting some pleasure. Because of illusion we are getting some pleasure. Because of some Dukkha we are getting pleasure. Or because of Sukha we are getting some pleasure. Okay. So the effect is what is being spoken. Now, why did this come? Why did this Prakriti association come? Due to previous lives. How is that clear? Sadasat Karanam Gunasangasya Sadasat Yoni Janmasi. Okay. Because of the effects from the past, right, we are having this. So Ramanujacharya says here, he again brings that same point. How long the Jivatma is there in this material. So he says here, there are in Nyaya means in logic, there are two logic sets. One is called Bija Ankura Nyaya. Bija Ankura Nyaya, simple thing, the logic of the seed and the sprout. Okay, the sprout, from where did it come? From the seed. The seed, from where did it come? Previous sprout. This previous sprout came from which? Another seed. That seed came previous sprout. Correct? So every tree comes from a seed. That seed came from a previous tree. That tree came from a seed. That came from a previous tree. It is infinite regression, right? You keep going back unlimitedly. Okay. So this is called Bija Ankuranya, the logic of seed and sprout. There is another logic in Nyaya which is called as Anyonya Ashray. Anyonya Ashray means, he gives an example. Let's say a man is mad and the doctor tells that his madness will go if he gets married. But when the boy's parents try to search an alliance, the prospective girl's parents, they say that first let him recover from the madness, then we will give our girl in marriage. Okay. So this is called Anyonya Ashray. That means they depend on each other. So the doctor is saying that get this chap married, his madness will go away. So the girl's father is saying that first let his madness go, then we will give our daughter. So it is called Anyonya Ashray. That means this depends on this. But Bij Ankura Nyaya is not like that. Right? The tree came from the seed, and that seed came from a tree, not the same tree. It came from a before tree. Correct? So Bij Ankura Nyaya. He says this is Bij Ankura Nyaya. Bij Ankura Nyaya means what? You have got attached to Prakriti because of your past connection to these modes. And that past connection, how did it happen? Because of the previous one. So it is infinitely, it will keep going. So that's the logic he uses here, right? There is just one more verse, and yeah, that is the last verse in this particular section. Beautiful verse again. Upadrishta anumanta cha bharta bhauta maheshwara paramatmeti chapyukto dehesmin purushah parah. Okay, so many of us were used to, again, if you remember the Gita as it is, we know that we use this word to talk about Paramatma. Okay, but see, again, Sanskrit is so beautiful. You can talk about it in multiple ways. The Ramanujacharya talks about this whole verse from Jivatma perspective. Look at the verse. The Jivatma seated in the body is the master of the body, and he wills to perform an action and then approves of the activity to perform by the body which is initiated. The Jivatma supports the body, experiences the happiness and sorrow resulting from the activities of the body. He is the controller and supporter of the body, senses, and mind. And he is also called as Paramatma, as is superior to the body and mind, which are termed as Atma. So this is the translation, and you can say commentary also here. So this is the last verse of Bandha Hetu. Remember, in the fourth section of the 13th chapter, we are discussing all the discussion is about Bandha Hetu. Correct? Bandha Hetu. So what is he saying here? Sharira. So Ramanujacharya gives a very classic definition of Sharira. He says, Yasya chetanasya yad dravyam sarvatmana swarte niyamatam dharayitum cha shakyam tat sheshataika swarupasya tat tasya shariram. So he says, whatever matter is controlled by the Atma, or whatever matter the Atma holds up, or whatever matter the Atma uses for its tasks, is called as its Sharira. So what is my Sharira? Whatever matter and which I'm controlling, which is I'm controlling only this body, right? Okay. I'm holding it up. And because of the Atma only, the body is sitting and standing or whatever. Everything. So Upadrishta means he says, yeah. So see, now Ramanujacharya uses this word Dehesmin, Asmin Dehe. Dehesmin means seated in the body. So Dehe means seated in the body. He says, first of all, this verse cannot be about Mukta Purusha. Why it cannot be about Mukta Purusha? Because Mukta Purusha is not seated in the body only. He is so free from body. So Dehesmin, this word cannot be applied to Mukta Purusha. Ramanujacharya says you cannot apply it to Paramatma also, because he says the Paramatma is seated in every body. When here the verse is saying Dehesmin, the focus is on one particular body. Okay. Not the verse is not talking about all bodies. That's how his definition is. So he says that it is not specific to one body. It is about all. It is specific to one body. Sorry, it is not about all bodies. So that's why he says this verse is about Atma. So he says Upadrishta means what? That means you do a sankalpa. Sankalpa means we all understand it. Sankalpa means we see something, we decide to do something. Right? I will buy pizza and eat today. Whatever. You made a decision. You made a sankalpa. Upadrishta. You will to perform it. Anumanta. You agree. Okay, let me do it. That means you initially have some contemplation whether I should do it or not. But with full consciousness, you permit the action. Initially, you will, and in that process, there is some debate internally, intellectually, whether I should do or no, and then you permit yourself to do it. Bharta, you support the body. It is Jivatma because of which the body is sitting, standing, doing everything. Bhukta, Whatever happiness and sorrow is happening in this body, you are only getting it. You are only enjoying or this thing. So Ramanujacharya says, because this word bhokta is there, he says we cannot use it for Paramatma. Paramatma means the super soul, because he says the super soul is not enjoying whatever is happening in this body. You are only enjoying. He's got nothing to do with this. So he says it is not referring to the Narayana, Paramatma. He is not referring to that. He says it refers to the Atma, person. Maheshwara, he says, because he says Atma is actually very powerful. So Maheshwara means he's controlling all the body, mind, and senses, and he can do wonderful things, the Atma. If he wants, he can do amazing things. Just that the poor fellow is stuck and thinking that he can do only this much. And then finally in this verse, Krishna says, Paramatmeti chap yukto. He's called as Paramatma, Krishna says, right? So called as Paramatma means, Ramanujacharya says, Krishna wants to say, he's not the real Paramatma, which is me only, the Supreme Lord. But you can call him like that. Why is calling Paramatma? Because he is superior to the body, mind, everything, and sometimes these things are also called as Atma. Okay. So, and in this way he is existing. So like so. So with this verse we conclude Bandha Hetu. You should notice, see actually in Ramanujacharya's commentary that for them that verse connection is very important. That whole series. So there is a framework that Yamunacharya gave, and Ramanujacharya follows that only in his explanation. So this is how he explained. I thought the explanation is very beautiful, though it is very different than perhaps most of us what we have studied. But it doesn't really matter. Right? It just means that how beautiful the Sanskrit language and our scripture is. That you can have completely two different sets of meanings, and perhaps each author can justify their own meaning, and so much is there to learn from it. In the end, I just only wish to say one point which I had heard from one speaker, not from this commentary that I'm studying, that 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he said, is important for anyone who is actually struggling in this world. Okay, only for someone like Haridas Thakur who has got nothing to do with Prakriti and to do with material nature, for such a person, 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is meaningless. It is, as in, not important at all. But for anyone who is struggling, he needs to understand what is this Purusha, what is Kshetra, and so on. Right? Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Any question or comment? Anybody? Yeah. Anyone with a raise of hand? Yeah, go ahead, Nitin Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. Guruji, just a quick question, Guruji. The Jivatma is a precursor of Muktatma, or is it a precursor of Muktatma, Guruji?
No, I didn't get the point. The Jivatma is what?
Precursor, Guruji. I mean, a stage earlier than Muktatma, Guruji.
Okay. See, Ramanujacharya's commentary, he talks about three things. He says there is Baddha, Mukta, and Nitya. Baddha means people like us who are stuck in this world. Anadi. Mukta means those among us who perfect our life and go back to the spiritual world. Mukta. Nitya means those who are always there, like Garuda or Desha. So many are there, right? Who are always there. They are Nitya. So the Mukta becomes, in one sense, same as Nitya in terms of experience. But still there is a difference, right? Like we say, somebody became a millionaire by working hard and somebody was always a millionaire. Like that. So Baddha, Mukta, Nitya. So this is their terminology of three types of living entities. And then there is a supreme. It's very similar to what we say, same thing by and large. So precursor means, yes, it's only the Baddha who can become Mukta. Because Mukta means that person was sometime Baddha in the past. And now he has become Mukta. He doesn't come down. That philosophy is the same everywhere. Once one goes back, one doesn't come back to this world. In that sense, what you're saying is right. Is that okay?
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
Yeah, Vaibhavanand, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Proj. I think it's quite circular once one try to understand. So Prabhupada has taken all this, wherever Krishna is saying Purusha, Prabhupada is taking as Supreme Lord.
Yeah,
And
I told you in
yeah.
this whole section 9 verses, Prabhupada talks about these verses as Paramatma. And here Ramanujare talks about it as Jivatma. So it is like that, yeah.
Yes. So it's quite interesting, and it fits both the meanings as well. I mean,
Yeah.
both looks quite good. And one thing is, Proji, we actually in Indian culture, many a times there is a lot of debate about discrimination and untouchability and all these things. But when we read Gita, so there is also a equality part.
Oh, yeah, a lot.
So on the basis of soul, or considering soul as the benefactor or soul as the central point, there is equality everywhere. But on the bodily level, there is certainly some kind of discrimination. So how do you see? I mean, how do sadhus would see and how they will behave? Because in Samaj, will they go for untouchability, or not having food somewhere, or seeing everybody on the sole platform? So how would they do it?
Yeah, see, this untouchability or this thing, see, in Vyavahara, what happens is there is an aspect of Saucham, cleanliness. I mean, simple thing, I have taken bath and I have come out wearing fresh clothes, and somebody has just got up from sleep. I cannot touch the person. I mean, if you see in Brahminical culture, at home also some untouchability is followed, right? As in, you don't touch a person if you have taken bath and come, you will not embrace someone who is just come out of bed. I mean, if that is a small child, it's a different thing. Like small babies sometimes get up, even we have taken bath, we will lift our baby, even if they have passed stool or urine. That's a completely different thing. I'm not talking about that. Otherwise, MC, you don't touch someone who's an adult or who's a grown-up person because you
नहीं,
want
अभी से पहले नहा के आओ फिर बात करो.
there's an aspect of cleanliness over there. There's an aspect of cleanliness, which is at the bodily level. That doesn't mean we discriminate too much in that context. So this has been the point. Okay. So now again, if you go back to our itihasas, especially in temples, there is no such concept only. Like for example, if you go to a temple, then you brush against so many people, right? Like you go to Tirupati Darshan, so many people you are going to jostle and touch as you are going to take darshan.
Yeah.
You are contaminated. No, there is a different set of rules only over there. Once you are in a temple complex, you don't discriminate like that. You see everybody. So whatever, somebody may have come without bath also. We don't know all that. Somebody may have just gone to the washroom and come and standing in line. He may have not taken a bath. Right? We may have taken a bath. So whatever. But still, there you don't distinguish like that.
But they would not allow even the lower classes or the fourth class.
There is a lot of it's not very clear on that. See, there are some practices in India which have come up in medieval times, which which whether it is coming from Shastra. See, when we say something happened in the past, everything that happened in the past, this word past, it's not that everything was perfect. And when we say past, there is lot of past. Like the Mahabharata is also past, and 500 years back was also past only. So 500 years back in India or 1,000 years back in India, perhaps some social conventions may have come up, which perhaps were not ideal. But that doesn't mean that they come from the Shastra per se. So you'll have to go back to the Shastra and see what it says. Like Rama embraced Guha, right?
Correct.
What? I mean, he was a Nishada tribe. And, from the caste perspective, not even Shudra, I mean, just way down.
Outcast.
Ram is a Kshatriya, he's a Dvija. He embraces. So, like that, if you see in our Shastra, you may not see like that. You may not see that. In Mahabharata, you would see the Dharma Vyada speaking Bhagavad Gita. He's speaking philosophy, and it is accepted. So, whether our Shastra promoted that or whether over the period of generations, people started having wrong tendencies and culture, that is also to be accepted. I believe the latter is true, that sometimes maybe some people lost track of the purpose of things. and they became very external in their judgment. Okay, there was a concept of cleanliness by which you don't touch some person, but then somebody engaged in some type of an act like sweeper or something to say that permanently one cannot touch them only, and they are like they cannot come to temple also. These things are not exactly supported by scripture. Okay, so you'll have to make a distinction between the past, the remote past, the shastra, and ultimately one will have to go to shastra and acharyas to understand.
Correct. And some communities could not ride a horse, or they would not ride a vehicle, or some horse or some cart, horse driven or ox driven cart, if a brahmana is on street. So was that also a case? How do you?
So I'm telling you, I mean, many of these things are, they will not have shastric basis. You will see them in ancient India as in 500,000 years back, or you may see something. And I feel a lot of discrimination also happened, not always necessarily from the Brahmana. Even the Kshatriyas, they did a lot of it. Even if you see,
Yeah.
a lot of tension, of caste tension is between like the Kshatriya community, like in UP and all, Thakurs, and the others, and not between the Brahmins and the others. But somehow the Brahmin caste bore all of the bad name also. They got the bad name as if they were the cause of everything.
Yes, yes. And one more thing, like when we read Bhagavad Gita.
Everybody has to have connection with Shastra also. If you have connection with Shastra, the concepts of equality, these concepts also come into being. But when you don't have connection with the Shastra always, and you are only practicing based on parivarik, samajik drishtikon, then such misunderstandings can creep up even more, I would say.
Yeah. And another thing is, like when we are reading this 13th chapter, so there is a clear demarcation between the Purusha and Prakriti or body. Let us say Prakriti as body. So, is there a case when one can sense that I am different from the body? I mean, there is no feeling, or there is no consciousness that I can exist, or this body separate from me. Somehow, we all actually have experience that I am this body. I mean, ऐसा लगता नहीं है प्रोजी कि we are actually separate.
In English language, this term "I am not the body" is not so much supported also. See, the Shastra, the Gita actually doesn't say that you're not the body. We say that sometimes in our slide, you're not the body, you're the soul. It's a very gross way of putting it. Actually, if you see, Deha, Atma is connected with the body also. See, that's why when the koshas are there, the first understanding is that you are the body. The second understanding is that your energy. The third understanding is that your thoughts. The fourth understanding is that you are the intellect, the decision maker. And the fifth understanding is that you are the enjoyer, the bliss, right? Atma, Ananda. But the first understanding is that you are the body, Annamaya. So that is not negated. It is just that you have to come up now. So I would say the Gita actually, if you see, most of the time Krishna is encouraging Arjuna based on body only. He's telling, hey Kaunteya, hey Bharata, addressing with reference to body only, right? So the body is never negated in the Gita. Let me put it like that. Why I'm saying that, because Karma Yoga is always based on body only. Because I have a body and a certain propensity, a certain direction, I can do Karma Yoga. If I don't have body only, what is Karma Yoga? Karma Yoga is connected to the body, na? The body has the nature of a Kshatriya, Brahmana, Vaishya, Shudra, whatever it is. If the body only is not there, where is Karma Yoga? So body has that's what I'm saying. See, some statements in English we make, right? It has actually the Gita, Krishna is condemning the understanding of just stopping with the body. That means thinking that I am the body and that's it. That part is certainly condemned. Krishna is encouraging you to go up and understand that I'm much more than that. But the idea that I'm not the body, so that, see, in English, such a statement, where do you find that in the Gita, where Krishna is saying that neglect the understanding that you are the body? No. Krishna will say maximum rise beyond the dualities of the body. That he will say. Tolerate the dualities, he will say. Correct?
Yeah.
I think we have to be very clear about the choice of words that we have. Because
So are we the body at some level?
of course we are. Why not? Dehe. I mean, see, certainly you're the body, as in, see, as long as we are in this particular thing and we are not yet self-realized, even mukta, the body is you, right? As in, you are going to develop everything through this only. So,
Hmm.
so in that sense, that negation of it too much is not recommended. My point is that. I mean, I'm not changing the philosophy. Obviously, we are the Atma only, that we all know what we are saying, right? But the
Hmm.
concept of negating too much the body doesn't exist that much, I'm saying. Because in
Okay,
the,
so you are saying in Gita, Krishna never said we are not the body.
no, yeah, I'm saying that because Krishna is only encouraging Arjuna to go to the higher level, as I said.
Correct.
But Krishna always reminded him, na? See, that's what I'm saying. Why is then Krishna reminding him of his duties of a Kshatriya? That is related to his body only, right? Forget you're the body, then forget the duties with reference to the body also.
Hmm.
But why? Where Karma Yoga has no foundation only, if you reject the body. If you reject the body, how are you going to develop all these qualities also? These qualities, Amanitvam, that's what Ramanujacharya says here. All the qualities can be developed only when you're sitting in the Deha. So he says the Deha is very important because it's only in this you can become a Mukta. Without the Deha, you cannot get Mukti. See, that's why we see a ghost is also praying to get a body. Because through the body only you can function and improve yourself. Without the body, you cannot do anything. You cannot do material progress, you cannot do spiritual progress also. Please try to get this point. Right? We have so many examples now. All ghostly beings are searching for a body. Body चाहिए यार हमको. Body के बिना तुम भौतिक आध्यात्मिक प्रगति कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते. It's very clear. Krishna, but if somebody thinks I'm only the body and that's the end of the story, then that is certainly condemned because that you're not. As in, you don't stop with that understanding. But
Yeah.
but you know, the English, see, that's what happens in English language when we present something. You know, saying you're not the body, you're the soul. Change your person. Come on.
Yeah. And another thing is like when you were talking about that once you separate the body and the soul, so the senses do not exist. You are saying. So
Yeah.
it looks like the senses belongs to the soul and not the body.
No, the senses make sense only when there is a soul inside. See, senses means perception. The soul is who is perceiving. Just like we say, na, when a dead man, even his eyes are working, who is seeing? The fellow seeing is gone, right? There is only a preta there. Then even if the eyes are working, there is no sense. The sense of sight is gone with the man.
Yeah. So does the sense belong to the soul?
Of course it is.
Or to the Prakriti?
No, it is through the agency of Prakriti, but the point there was that only when the Prakriti has an Atma inside, these senses make some sense. Otherwise, it doesn't. So that's the point.
Okay. Hari.
You have still a question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, we hear shlokas like Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Kabunoy, Shravanadi Sudhijiti Karaye Uday. So, like we already have a particular rasa with Krishna, and then after purification, it will be revealed. This is what we have been hearing. So, is this understanding a core Gaudiya understanding which is coming from Shad Goswamis or Mahaprabhu, or it is a recent Gaudiya understanding? That is first question. Yeah.
So see, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema, see, the living entity's basic nature being spiritual is accepted by all Vaishnava Sampradayas. Nobody is questioning that. Everyone says that the living entity's original place where he should be is not this. That everybody accepts. I mean, even Shankaracharya accepts that. You don't belong to this realm. So, what to speak of Vaishnavacharya? Everybody is saying the same thing. You don't belong to this place. You have to get out of it. Okay, samsara is an artificial place for you. That is accepted by everyone. So
but then what about particular Swarupa? Like we have one of the 5 rasas, we are related to Krishna originally.
Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunoy doesn't talk literally about that. What that verse which you quoted says is that the living entity has that spiritual nature inherently. That's what the translation is, right? And
Okay.
by the process of bhakti, that is awakened, which is what everybody says. That part is also fine. Okay. The question of the point that our Swarupa is the final, right? In that sense.
The 5 rasas, we have one of the 5 rasas already with Krishna, and that we have forgotten. Is this a core Gaudiya understanding or recent Gaudiya understanding?
Um, 5 rasas which are there. One second, let me think what this in paraphrase. Our
Like,
rasa
does it come in?
fixed, right? Our rasa in that being fixed, like that you're saying?
Like Dasya ras, Sakhya ras, like that understanding, like what we hear from Prabhupada, his classes, that we have one of the 5 rasas we already have, and then after purification, it will be revealed to us. So, is this also what exactly our Shat Goswami is also saying? Does this come anywhere in Shat Goswami literatures?
No, my understanding is that that certainly comes. See, the point I was talking only is about this whether we have come from there or not. That part, there are certainly differences of opinion. But the fact that we have a particular rasa with Krishna inherently, which we can awaken up, I think that is said. I mean, I'll have to again find out. I've honestly not read that much. I'm still studying the Bhagavatam Gaudiya commentary. If somewhere it comes, I'll clarify that. So maybe I'll ask some teacher also in that context.
And what other acharyas says about it, like Sri Vaishnava acharyas, Madhava Vaishnavas, what
No,
they say about?
come out of that. I think I'll need to do some research on that. I'll have to find out.
Okay,
I'll
okay.
have to ask. Yeah, sure. I'll keep it in my mind. I understood your question. I'll try.
Yes.
I'll get back to you on that. Yeah, give me some time. Yeah,
Okay, Prabhuji.
yeah. I think we need to stop. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Yeah,